night of most teens' lives. The freedom from high school and parental control is near, the whole world ahead of you, until beep, bang, it was gone. Unfortunately, for 4 students at my high school, this is how their prom night would end. For 3 of them, this would be their last night on this earth. As for the last one, this night would represent a lifetime of guilt. I'd like to show you how you can make sure that a night like this never happens again. I'd also show you the impact it has on the community. I'll explain to you how you can help the victims who are part of similar tragedies. And I hope, overall, to persuade you to volunteer in the Mothers Against Drunk Driving community. According to the National Highway Traffic Association, on average, 2 in 3 people will be involved in a drunk driving crash in their lifetime. Look around. According to that statistic, 4 people in this room could very well be victims of this tragedy. Drunk driving crashes take a toll not only on their victims, but the family of these victims as well. We can no longer turn our heads on the problems associated with alcohol and driving, and its negative impact on the lives of its persecutors and victims. I refuse to see another body bag zipped to an accident that could have been prevented. Driving under the influence has become a huge issue. It's rapidly taking the lives of people of all ages, children, teens, adults. According to the National Traffic Association, every 2 minutes, a person is injured in a drunk driving crash. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, each day people drive drunk more than 300,000 times, but only 3,200 people are actually arrested. One of the biggest contributions to these problems is the level of education. Many of these drunk drivers have not been educated on the risks of driving under the influence, are unaware of what to do in the instance that they find themselves under the influence and are supposed to drive, or they simply don't know how to tell when they're too intoxicated to drive. In the article, The Drink That Changed My Life Forever, Bobby Henry writes, "I've done a lot of youth justice work. I talk about Kelly and her death. It breaks my heart. I cry every time I do it. But I think if I can make one person realize what it's like for a family that's been left behind, they may actually change their mind and make the choice not to drink and drive." Mothers like Bobby often work with MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, with hopes to educate and make a positive impact on people by raising awareness with their story. In The Telegraph, an article titled "Female Drunk Driver, I Moved My Car the Morning After a Party, It Ruined My Life," Holly shares her story. Holly was 24 years old when she attended a Christmas party. Her and friends stayed up drinking till roughly 1 a.m. and then went to sleep. In the morning, Holly's friend asked her if she could move her car so she could get out. Holly drove her car around the corner to move it, and when she went around that corner, a police officer pulled her over. He then breathalyzed her and found that she was way over the legal limit. She was taken into custody, given 2 years probation, banned from driving for 3 years, given 3 points on her license, and fined $350. As part of her punishment, she was also sent to drunk driving course. Holly now says, had she known the information she learned in this drunk driving course, she would have never driven her car that morning. She had no idea alcohol could still be in her system hours later when she had not continued to drink. Knowing this information ahead of time could have changed Holly's life, as she now finds it extremely hard to find jobs and travel out of the country due to her criminal record. Mothers Against Drunk Driving are working hard to help victims and their families, educate people the risks of driving drunk, and reduce underage drinking, but they can't do it alone. They're in desperate need of volunteers. This is where you come into play. Volunteering at Mothers Against Drunk Driving is something anyone can do. You don't even need any prior experience. Volunteering with the organization is the best way to effectively and appropriately help those who have been affected and prevent further tragedies. There are so many options when it comes to ways you can volunteer, based on the level you wish to commit and the time you're willing to spend. MAD will help you find an area that fits your schedule best. According to the MAD website, here are just a few things volunteers can do to help. They can help set up events, attend community fairs, distribute MAD's red ribbons to encourage people not to drink and drive, take steps to raise funds, or even become a trained volunteer to help victims. Many of these you can do right from the comfort of your own home. Now I'm sure you're wondering, why do this through MAD? The unity of all different kinds of people bringing different opportunities to the table is what makes this organization strong, coming together in hopes to solve a common denominator. This is what sets MAD apart from independent work. In his article, 5 Surprising Benefits of Volunteering, Mark Horozowski stated, "One of the great ironies of life is this: he or she who serves almost always benefits more than he or she who is served." It's pretty clear drunk driving is a problem that we can no longer overlook. And one of the best ways to begin to solve it is preventing it in the first place. Mothers Against Drunk Driving works very hard to educate people about the causes and effects of driving under the influence and teaches them ways it can be prevented. They hold assemblies at schools, give speeches, organize events, all in hopes to educate and prevent further tragedies. According to MAD's website, their goal says, there's one choice: 0 deaths. Now, before you blow this off as impossible, let's take a look at how many deaths this organization has already prevented. On their website, the MAD organization states, "We have already cut fatalities in half. Imagine what we could do with your help." Based on this information, it's obvious there is a working solution. The only thing needed to make it happen is simple: people working towards it. In other words, you are the solution. If you knew there was a possibility you could save someone's life, wouldn't you at least want to try? Well, volunteering at MAD is that possibility. After recognizing what a tragedy drunk driving is to our society and learning all the ways MAD works as an advocate to prevent and help its victims, I'd like to ask you to please consider volunteering for MAD. Together, we can put an end to drunk driving. At the end of this speech, you are welcome to come up and grab a photo to remind you of what your next step is. You can put it in your wallet or put it in your car, whatever it takes to motivate you to take this step. This is a picture of the benches that sit at my school, dedicated to the friends whose lives we lost. Remember those 4 kids I talked about at the beginning of the speech? Those were my friends. And at the blink of an eye, they could be yours, or even worse, you. After losing such a kind, bright, happy group of kids, our community was devastated. Thankfully, MAD stepped in to help and even organized an assembly to talk to kids at my school. They brought us comfort and taught us ways to make sure this never happens again. They offered a helping hand when we needed it most. So please, consider signing up as a volunteer at MAD. They changed my life for the better, and I'm sure they'll change yours too. Thank you all for coming.